In this video, we'll be delving into a deeper understanding of the quantum blockchain, with a focus on understanding two components that the quantum blockchain is built on: understanding the UTXO model and understanding the proof-of-stake model. UTXO, or Unspent Transaction Output Model, is the accounting system that is implemented in the Bitcoin network. Qtum uses a copy of Bitcoin's code to implement UTXO. The UTXO model was the first blockchain model and is a fundamental element of how Bitcoin works. The first step into understanding UTXO is to understand how Bitcoin transactions function. For every Bitcoin transaction, there is both an input, example, where the money came from, and an output, where the money is sent. An analogy that better suits the technical explanation of Bitcoin would be a comparison to receipts. If Luke, a miner, finds a block, the blockchain issues him a receipt that states he is able to spend 25 Bitcoin. This is a receipt of a single transaction, which is currently unspent. Transactions can only be in one of two states. They are either spent or unspent. This enforcement of this transaction model keeps the Bitcoin ledger in balance, since every input needs an output, which is either spent or unspent. When Luke buys a new car from Bob that costs 1 Bitcoin, he will spend the 25 Bitcoin transaction and create two new transactions. One transaction is to Bob for 1 Bitcoin that is owed to him, and the other transaction will be for the unspent 24 Bitcoin. The reason why the initial transaction cannot be changed from 25 to 24 Bitcoin is due to the nature of the UTXO system. Going back to what we discussed earlier, transactions can only be in a state of spent or unspent. They cannot be modified. This is a key feature of any blockchain, immutability. This means that every transaction is traceable, ensuring that Bitcoin cannot be created out of thin air. Therefore, you could trace back every transaction to its issuance from the system as a result of mining, enabling a fully auditable and therefore secure blockchain. The only way to create a new transaction is to spend a transaction that is greater than or equal to the value of the transaction you're using as the input. If the transaction that is consumed is greater than the value that you want to spend, the rest of the value is turned into change and is returned back to the sender as a new transaction. So why does Qtum use UTXO? The Qtum team's aim was to build a business-ready blockchain that was both versatile and secure. To accomplish this, they chose the underlying UTXO model that Bitcoin is built on over the accounts model that the Ethereum is built on. The accounts model is more familiar as it works similarly to the traditional banking world. Essentially, every account experiences direct value and information transfer within state changes. When you send currency using an accounts model, your account balance decreases by the amount that you sent. Additionally, it allows for complex data structures and general computing. The Qtum team chose the UTXO model as they felt that this was the model that afforded the most security due to the fact that it was the longest standing model with a limited and simpler Bitcoin coding language. The accounts model consists of a larger number of general computing functions, and as such was considered riskier to implement than the UTXO model. Another aspect of the quantum blockchain is its consensus algorithm model. Qtum implements a proof-of-stake or POS model, which is used to determine who submits the next block and who receives the reward for it. It has become more popular than the consensus algorithm model proof-of-work, or POW, used in the Bitcoin network, which has received criticism due to how energy-intensive it is. How it works is that to become a validator for the chain, you must lock up or stake a number of the tokens. The value that you have staked determines your chances of receiving the block reward. Essentially, it works like a lottery system, where the more you stake, the more tickets you have. Qtum does not have a minimum stake and also uses an advanced version of POS called POS 3. This version of POS was built for UTXO-based blockchains, and we will discuss the benefit of this in a later video. In this module, we discuss the concepts of UTXOs, as well as the proof-of-stake consensus model. In the next module, we'll discuss the two more components of the quantum blockchain in order to understand it as a whole.